Every year, 6% of Bahamian
children are born with a heart defect.
We at Cable 12
and the Nassau Guardian decided
to lend a helping hand
in creating more awareness to the cost of saving little hearts.
One surgery
Can cost up to
$250,000.
We at Cable 12
and the Nassau Guardian hear their cry.
We are asking you
to make a donation to these efforts.
embrace the opportunity
and save a little heart.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into NB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. Here's what's making news tonight. A military funeral for the longest-serving police commissioner. Two MPs go head-to-head over sexual preferences in the House of Assembly. A religious leader says Randy Fraser needs professional help. Those stories and much more on the way. I'm Nakia DeVoe, and NB12 starts right now. Thanks again for joining us here at NB12. Hundreds of Royal Bahamas Police Force officials, family members, friends and former colleagues of the late Bernard K. Bonamy today said their final farewells as he was laid to rest. Christina McNeil was there as the police force and the nation paid respects to the man described as an outstanding son of the soil. Here's her report.
A full military send-off for Commissioner of Police retired Bernard K. Bonamy, who many described as a courageous, loyal, and honest leader who led the police force through some of its toughest years.
Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade telling the retired commissioner's family members and friends that he sees his past and future before him. The past represented by the legacy Bonamy leaves behind, and the future in the young police officers who have yet to make their mark on the force.
Commissioner Bonamy served during the most difficult time in the history of this country. It was a time when drug traffickers peddled their poison and influence with perceived impunity. This courageous young commissioner dared to stand, and he never flinched despite the dangers to himself and his family. Yes, they actually put a price on our heads.
Prime Minister Perry Christie says Bonamy will always be remembered for the contributions he made not only to the police force but to the country.
It is for me to say today that as we mature as a country, it is important that we honor our own heroes, that we bestow national honors on them. Bernard Bonamy was a good and faithful servant of the Bahamian people, whose many fine contributions and outstanding example have secured him a lasting place of respect among the nation builders of the modern Bahamas.
Monsignor Preston Moss, who delivered the homily today, said a prayer for Bonamy and other officers who he's inspired, those who go out on the front lines to protect the country in one of the most dangerous professions.
We are grateful as a people for you men and women of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and to all those who put your lives at risk daily for our safety, our protection, and our welfare. We ask and pray God's blessing upon you.
Bonamy joined the police force in 1963. By 1987, at the age of 42, Bonamy became the youngest police commissioner in Bahamian history and the third Bahamian commissioner in an independent Bahamas. The retired commissioner was also the first Bahamian commissioner and police commissioner in the region to achieve a law degree. He died in his sleep on February 22nd. Bonamy is interred at Lakeview Memorial Gardens. He is survived by his wife, children, and their families. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
A salacious argument over a parliamentarian's sexual preference took over the proceedings on the floor of the House of Assembly last night during a political newcomer's contribution to the mid-year budget debate. Paige McCartney details the row between opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis and Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins.
What started off as a promising contribution to the mid-year budget debate from the gaming board chairman turned quickly into a high-tempered verbal brawl, with Rollins ultimately defending his sexuality. Rollins started off accusing Minnis of being involved in a conflict of interest as he was the beneficiary of a Public Hospitals Authority contract while he served as Minister of Health. After Minnis admitted that he entered into that contract in 2005 before ever entering politics and then declared the benefits when he became a minister, Rollins added another element to the debate.
But I was accused by him of living a lifestyle that I do not live, so that he could use his contacts in the punch to try and scandalize my name. Anybody who knows me, Mr. Deputy, knows the life that I live. I had the FNM while I ran for the PLP, trying to tell parents lies about me, to say that I, a professional who works with children, to try and scandalize my name.
Rollins claimed that the opposition leader and deputy leader Loretta Butler Turner have taunted him about rumors about his sexuality by making comments and suggestive gestures.
And you think that I am not going to defend myself when this man, when the member for Kalani, lying on me, stood up to his feet and because he and the member for Long Island were trying to get into my head and bend their wrists, and he's supposed to be a leader of the opposition and an aspirant to become leader of this country?
Minnis, however, requested that those comments be expunged from parliamentary records, saying that he has no interest in anyone's sexual preference.
The member accused me also of giving certain information to a newspaper. If the member cannot prove that, I need him to withdraw.
Member for Fort Charlotte. Member for Fort Charlotte. Member for Fort
accusation.
Member for Kalani.
That's serious accusation.
Member for Kalani. Just pause for a second. Pause. Member for Charlotte. Not unparliamentary term will not be allowed in this place.
That's serious accusation, and he needs to withdraw that, and it should be expunged from the record. The other thing, I have no interest whatsoever in his sexual preference. I know what I am, he knows what he is. I have no interest. What he chooses to be is his business. No. I have no interest.
The back and forth didn't sit well with Leader of Government Business in the House, Dr. Bernard Nottage, who abruptly called for a House suspension and chastised the members, telling them to get a hold of themselves.
Mr. Speaker, I tried to put a cap on this matter.
You certainly did, Member Floor.
Of committee.
Of committee.
I mean, the leader of the opposition really should know that that is something that he ought not to have done. And I would suggest that you withdraw that remark. So I'm not saying to you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, speak.
I'm trying to get us to have that kind of atmosphere here about which you have spoken.
Absolutely, the ideal.
And you didn't call him anything?
Sorry? You didn't call him anything?
But before the House suspended, Rollins stood again to put his sexual preference on the record.
Our lives are public, and as public figures, we should be open and honest. And for the record, I am absolutely 100% heterosexual. No, because the reason I say that is he wishes to create.
Member for Fort Charlotte, take your seat.
Reporting for MB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
Following the recent vote by congregation members on whether to keep Bishop Randy Fraser as head of Pilgrim Full Baptist Temple Church, religious leader Bishop Simeon Hall is recommending after serving his prison sentence, Fraser take time out to seek help before returning to the pulpit. Celeste Nixon has more in this report.
Former president of the Bahamas Christian Council, Bishop Simeon Hall, said Bishop Randy Fraser should seek clinical help before he resumes his post at Pilgrim Full Baptist Temple.
The majority of members of Pilgrim Full Baptist Temple who voted Tuesday voted in favor of keeping Fraser as the head of their church, even though Fraser is currently serving a 3-year prison sentence for having sex with a dependent. However, Bishop Hall said while the church has every right to forgive him, Frazier needs to first admit his wrongdoings in addition to meeting with a psychiatrist or psychologist.
Before he returns to the pulpit, he should get some professional clinical help. You see? That's the least we could do while while you and I seek forgiveness for sins we've committed, we must admit that we sinned. And that's what's absent from this whole saga, that there's been no admission of guilt. Thus, it is difficult for the public to see, any justification for this man going back to the pulpit.
Hall also said Frazier should seek forgiveness from the victim, her family, his entire congregation, and the larger community.
As a pastor, I would have sought the forgiveness of the church and the community. And I'm not sure that he has. See, we cater to the community. And if we put up walls and barriers to that very community that we're trying to reach, then it gives us some problems.
To deal with these types of matters, Hall suggested establishing a board that would set guidelines and standards for pastors.
But the Bahamas Christian Council might wish to venture into the establishment of a national ecclesiastical board that legitimizes all pastors, all participating pastors.
According to Hall, setting up this type of body could be challenging, as unlike Catholic and Anglican denominations, Baptist churches are autonomous. The Court of Appeal last year condemned Frazier as a sexual predator when it upheld his conviction for having sex with a teenage church member who had come to him for counseling. The incidents took place between July 2005 and February 2006. Reporting for NB12, I'm Celeste Nixon.
Well, executives of Stewart's Cove's Dive Bahamas outraged over an ongoing oil spill from the Bahamas Electricity Corporation's diesel power plant at Clifton Pier. They sent aerial photographs of the area to our news team this afternoon, and you can see an oil slick on the ocean's surface. A spokesperson for the dive resort says that the spill is terrible for tourism, claiming that swimmers, divers, and snorkelers are coming up covered in oil. The oil spills have even gotten international attention. During a visit to the College of the Bahamas this January, senior attorney at the United States Natural Resources Defense Council, Robert Kennedy Jr., expressed concern about the progressive breakdown of several reefs in the Clifton Pier area. He called the frequent oil spills at Clifton Pier criminal and challenged Bahamians to go out on a boat and see for themselves what is coming out of the plant. Stewart's Cove officials also alleged that the government has been made aware of the ongoing issue but has not addressed it. Calls to Minister of Housing and the Environment, Kenred Dorset, were not returned up to airtime.